Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How's everybody doing? Thanks for tuning back into another watch list here today. What's going on? What's going on? So sorry about that slow little getting on, little delay, but we're on now. So anyways, thanks again for tuning in. There are quite a few things moving today we're going to have to be paying attention to. There's a lot of earnings plays. I'm not going to go over all of them, only just a few of them. Show you which ones I'm most interested in watching. And then there's also another stock by the ticker of MGNX. Not sure if any of you guys have seen it today, but that's another interesting ticker because it's a positive. It has news of a positive phase 3 trial, and the stock went from 11 to 18. Wait, that's incorrect. 11 to 29, something like that. Yeah, 11 to 29 today pre-market. So crazy move. So interesting plays today. I think today is going to be a fun one. Going to be a fun one. So let's get into sharing the screen here. All right, that's the one. So I guess we'll just kind of kick it off here with MGNX. This is the first stock that I'm probably going to watch. Now, call me crazy if you want, because this thing's probably going to be pretty volatile, and it might be a challenging one to trade. So if you're a little bit newer, this MGNX might be something you want to stay away from. But if you do end up trading it, I'd recommend probably doing it with small size, just because you've seen what it could do. It went from 11 to 19, right? Big move. So during the day, you could expect this thing to have probably a spread of 50 cents to $1, hell, maybe even $1.20. I don't really know, because I don't know. If it picks up in crazy volume and volatility, then maybe the spread could be $1.20. I'm not entirely sure. I think I've seen the spread up to about almost as wide as $1 at one point pre-market. So arguably the spread might tighten up a bit when market opens, or it doesn't. It gets wider. So again, this could be kind of a riskier, more volatile stock today. So if you know that you've only been trading for a little bit, this might be something you want to kind of just put on the side and maybe just watch it. But I do believe MGNX could have some crazy moves today, just because of what we've seen. So we'll see. It might be fun. It might be a complete dud. But there is positive news, and this is going to be a fun one to watch. Good morning. I would say that shorting Cron is probably not a bad idea. I mean, don't just think the stock's just going to tank and you're going to make a bunch of money in a second. That's usually not the way trading works, but it is a stock that has started to pull back drastically, and probably does have a lot more downside potential. So yeah, I would agree, being a bear on the marijuana stocks right now is a good idea. I just made a video last night about it. Nothing too crazy, just kind of more of an informative video of where marijuana stocks are at right now. But I do believe that's still a good play. We don't need shirts with logos, but thank you very much, my man. We don't. Not at this point. Maybe one day. All right, so that's the first one, MGNX. Now, I didn't really do a whole lot of technical analysis on it because, well, I just hadn't gone over it yet. But here we are. So if you look at the chart here, you can see it went up to a high of 29. So if we go to the yearly chart, we'll go take a look at the yearly chart here on MGNX. And at 29, you will come to find that that's relatively close to the 52-week high. All right, you can see over here this pop, that would be the 52-week high. And that is exactly, it's relatively close to where the stock had popped to this morning at 29. We hit highs at 29 on MGNX, and the 52-week high is at 32.74. So arguably, it had a massive spike right into resistance. So it's kind of hard for me to wrap my head around this stock pushing too much higher. So I'm actually going to follow MGNX short bias today. I'm gonna wait for the early morning phase to kind of do its thing, and then I'll probably actually watch this short bias on the day. It is also easy to borrow on Thinkorswim. All right, next stock here on the watch list, Snapchat earnings play. So you can see Snapchat ended up it had a fairly good earnings play. It appears investors are respecting the outcome, and you can see the stock has pushed from about 680 to a high of 890. This is a big move for Snapchat in regards to the price of the stock. So the price of the stock was $6.80 before earnings, and then it shot up basically $2 per share. So that's a big jump for a stock that's only $6, $7. So with that being said, we're going to be following this closely. This is the first time Snapchat has had an earnings report like this in a while. First time we've really even seen life in the stock, Snapchat, or in the company. And so that brings an extra kind of emphasis on it. It makes it a little bit more interesting because we haven't really seen this type of bullish movement on Snapchat in so long that it's like, makes it more interesting. Now, I still think Snapchat has a long way to go. One earnings point isn't a total sell for me. That doesn't make sense. Doesn't make it a total buy for me. So I'm still going to actually follow this. I'm still going to follow Snapchat short. This kind of reminds me of a situation where we could have a situation like GE, where even when GE had like a relatively good earnings pop, it kind of sold off. But I guess it's maybe not good to compare Snapchat to GE anyways, but we're going to follow it. I mean, it's holding pre-market actually pretty well. So ideally, what I'm going to watch is see if it holds 840. If Snapchat can hold this 840s level, then I would say it's probably going to be, arguably good for a long trade. So we're following closely. It's a strong gap up with the strong hold so far. Hasn't sold off. I kind of like this. So I think Snapchat's going to be a good one to keep on the watch here today as well. Now, it's not an extremely fast mover, or at least it usually isn't an extremely fast moving stock. Maybe the earnings day brings in some more volatility and makes it move a little bit faster than it normally does. I would really like that. But then it's also possible that this earnings day will make the stock overcrowded and then it has a really choppy trading day. So that's really kind of what I see with Snapchat is either we're going to have a good day where it's a volatile and it actually kind of moves, or it's going to get overcrowded and then it just won't do anything and it's going to be a pain in the ass. And if you start to notice it just going back and forth, like up a little bit and then it comes down and the candles are just doing this, it's best just to leave it alone because it's going to be a pain and it's going to just throw you off all day. All right, last one, EA. So EA, this is also one of the stocks that I'm most concerned with following. You can see it drop from $93 to a low of $74 in after hours trading. So that in itself is a big drop. So this creates volatility. Now, I know some of you guys, when you see these plays, and even some when we send some of these things out in our email watch list. Oh, by the way, guys, if you didn't know, you can sign up and get like a free email. Like just basically you can go to our website, enter your email, and then we'll send you a free watch list every morning. Kind of similar to what we do here on YouTube, but not everybody can tune in on YouTube every day. Not everybody can be in our chat room so this is a nice way for you guys to still kind of be informed of what might be moving on the day if you're at work and you just pop open and check out our email real fast. So that might work well for some of you guys, down the road. So if you want to, again, it's the first link in the description of the video. Go to the site and then just enter your email for the watch list or follow the free watch list route and you'll eventually figure it out. And get there. So you guys might like that. So what I was getting at is, sometimes we'll send out stocks like EA Sports or, not EA Sports, but Electronic Arts, excuse me. So sometimes we'll send out, stocks like this on the watch list. We're like, hey guys, check the stock. And just the average person trading in the market typically thinks of a stock going up, and that's how you make money. So a lot of times when we send out, hey, check out EA, and in an email and like a newer trader comes along, they're like, wow, that was the worst stock you could have possibly recommended, because they look at it and go, holy thing, this thing's down like crazy. So they're thinking, what do I see value? Like, how do you see value? And that's just because they don't understand the mechanism of trading, and you can short and dip buying. And so every once in a while throw some people off. So if I ever put one of these earnings plays on the watch list and it's down really big, don't shy away from it thinking it's bad because it's going down. When stocks are going down like this, they provide the same amount of value and opportunity that a stock does if it's going up. It's just the opposite direction. So it's not bad, right? In terms of trading, if you're investing, no, you definitely don't want it going down. But in terms of trading, it's the same thing up and down. You just care about the move, right? So if I were to reverse this chart, right? So if I went like this, reverse this to go EA, now would you say, oh wow, maybe EA is a good stock, right? If the chart was reversed and you were looking at EA as if it were going up, they'd be like, oh wow, this thing's killing it. It's booming, right? Because you see this big move up, you're like, whoa, this big move up, this means it could probably move a little bit more, or it could, pull back or whatever it wants to do. But then when you look at it, in regular, you go, no. But it's the same thing. The value is there, the volatility is there, the opportunity is there, especially if you're a trader. So don't shy away from these. Actually make these earnings reports, the ones that go down, the ones that go up, make them all your friend, because they're the same thing, just backwards or opposite. Okay? So enough of the spiel there. So with EA, I do like it. I like the big move down. To me, I think, let me take a look at the yearly chart first. How far are we down? Yep. So we're right into the 52-week low. I would say EA is most likely going to bounce today off this 73.91. I'd be very surprised to see EA drop below the after hour low. It's possible, but with the way it's channeling up, I mean, it's creating higher low. It's curling. The dips are getting bought. I would say EA is probably going to be, I think it's going to put up a fight. I don't necessarily think it's just going to drop out. I think there's a good chance we could actually see it maybe kind of recover a little bit on the day. You can already see its nice, beautiful curl here to begin with. Right? And, it's also arguable, too, with how big the video game industry is becoming, especially with live streaming and Twitch. Arguably, actually a good buy point for investors. So I think, EA actually might see a fairly good day or recovery on today. So going to be watching EA, Snapchat, and MGNX. All right, now that I've gone through all of those, let me kind of scroll up. Look at a couple of these questions. Mr. Rodriguez, if you were starting with an account, started with account 30. It's such a hard question to answer. It's not what stocks should you trade. It's basically you should just hope to always be right. But personally, if you have a small account like that, if you trade high-priced stocks, you're not going to win a lot, but you won't lose a lot. So you'll be able to stick around in the market longer and learn more in real trading if you're playing with higher-priced stocks that don't have as much risk to them. You'll actually stick around and probably see much more success trading than you will if you were just to try and focus on penny stocks and catch the move. You'd probably end up seeing more success that way. TTWO is another earnings play today you could focus on. Yep. Let's see. TRVN. I've been hearing that ticker. I've heard that ticker a few times today, TRVN, but I haven't. I think I looked at it once. Oh, no, I won't. No, guys, if you know me, I will not trade that. So, in terms of investing or swing trading, there might be opportunity. I would probably go with investing, probably not. But, I will never day trade anything that looks like that. If you tune into my channel, you will come to find I will never recommend a day trade or day trading anything that looks like TRVN. Now, not that you can't make money on it. That's not what I'm getting at. It's just, for me, this isn't fun, right? This is just a headache, right? So, let's say, that's just it. It goes from $1.19 to $1.31, pulls back, and then it just has this back and forth barcode, move up, move back. To me, that's just, I don't like trading those. It's not that you can't, but they're just very slow, very boring, and it's just not my style. But for some people, the slow moving stocks are really what people like. So on TRVN, arguably, you can see this here. You see this pop to 151. Yeah, and then you got up here 145. Basically, right now, it's arguably at a triple top, top. So that's what traders are looking at today. The long bias traders are trying to get it to break over this 150. But in reality, this isn't a really good setup. This is actually a terrible setup for a long. just because it went from, up to here, dropped down, and basically just spiked right back to. That's a terrible long setup to anticipate a breakout. It might go, it really will. Like, even if it does, it doesn't mean it's a good setup. Like, that's really just not a good setup, because it's really a double top. So theoretically, there should be sellers here. And if there aren't and it keeps going, like, again, like I said, that's not a good setup, because if this breaks out and it keeps going, the next time you see a stock and it's doing this, you might think it's going to break out and keep going, but in reality, it's usually going to go the other way and come down. So if you trade this setup and have success as it breaks out, then you'll trick your mind to thinking that this is a good setup, and then the next time you come across a situation like this, you might find yourself buying it, and then it gets dropped on, and then you do it again and it gets dropped on, and then you'll take a couple losses and you'll come to find maybe that's not the best setup. So I'll tell you right now, that's not a good setup. What a better setup would be is to see this actually sell off today. Actually, yeah, if I were a trader and I'm like, I want to buy TRVN, I would say I hope the sellers actually beat the price down today and bring it back down to like $1.30, $1.25, and then have it buyers come back in, dip, and then bring it back up, create an ascending triangle or bullish pennant up into the resistance for a breakout. Then setup will be much better. So for me, I'm not really sold on anything with TRVN today, let alone I wouldn't trade it, but I'm not a big fan of that. I wouldn't be trading that long setup personally. All right. Oh, wow, sorry. ATVI, if you look at ATVI Activision today, you're going to see their price on their stock is down. And it might have recovered since I last checked. So if it's up, it might be up. I don't know, right? But the last time I mean, I guess I could look right now, but Anyways, last time I checked, ATV was down, or Activision was down. If you noticed, like we already went over, EA had their earnings today and the stock dropped dramatically. Activision, EA, both create games. Again, kind of the same sector, both do very similar things. Oh, brother, would you look at that? The brother just brought me breakfast. That's how it's done. Check it out. Breakfast up in the office. Gotta love it. So with Activision, it's very similar company to EA. So when EA sells off 20 points today, you're seeing a sympathy play in Activision where Activision is starting to drop because one of its like kind of sister or brother companies is dropping dramatically. So you actually might see Activision get bought back up today because it was just a sympathy play. So actually, yeah, I will mention that. Watch Activision long today just because it might get bought up because it really wasn't supposed to drop. EA was supposed to drop, but since they're tied together in the same sector, you're kind of seeing some of that sediment from EA trickling over to Activision and causing a negative effect on their stock today. What platform are you using to trade in Thinkorswim? I use Thinkorswim to trade. Nope, I don't play stocks the day before earnings. I could. Occasionally I will trade earnings reports, occasionally, but it's just such a risky, it's extremely hard. Like I can do it, but it's just risky, dude, and it's such, your heart's just like, oh, and it's just not even worth it. I mean, there's ways to kind of get an edge in trading earnings reports, but at the end of the day, the prices move so fast on earnings that you can't even comprehend. Like the newer trader wouldn't even be able to comprehend what's going on. You're going to get into a stock and the thing's going to rip $2 up, then it's going to shoot $3 down, and then it's going to spike back up $25 this way. You won't even be able to wrap your head or comprehend what the hell's even happening when you're looking at the stock, especially if you're a new trader. So it's just not something you want to do. I know it looks appealing. The stock goes up $7, $8 a share overnight. It's like, yeah, but if you're wrong on which direction you pick, you just screwed yourself so hard. So it's just not worth it for one. Yeah, that's that. Mr. Wildlife, see, how do you play? Earnings are hard to figure out. Well, yeah, because earnings have nothing to do with any technical analysis, right? Most traders are all built off technical analysis versus fundamental analysis. So when you try and take a technical analysis trader, throw him in a situation where it's all built off of fundamental analysis, you're right, he shouldn't be able to figure it out, right? Because what he's doing isn't how you figure it out. It's the complete opposite. He's doing everything you really shouldn't be doing for an earnings report, right? You're going off a technical play when really it's a fundamental play. So you have to be able to understand fundamentals. And then people are like, okay, well then how do you read an earnings report, or how do you read that? It's not about reading an earnings report. You're not going to know, you will know nothing by, you will not be able to figure out how the earnings is going to go by reading an earnings report, okay? Because the earnings report is released the day of the earnings anyways. So what you have to do is you have to go back months, if not years, of earnings reports, cash flow statements, and you're going to be willing to look at what have they done over the past couple years. Cash flow. Is their cash flow increasing? Are their debts increasing? Are liabilities increasing? Why are liabilities increasing? Are they hiring more employees? Are they putting more money into research and development? So you want to figure out, how they're making their money, why they're making their money, what's their customer acquisition? Are they losing customers? Where are they gaining customers? What marketplace are they trying to get into? Are they disrupting the industry? Then again, you want to know what is their debt, like what is their short-term debt, what is their long-term debt, so you want to pay attention to all those, and you need years of data, because you can't look at one earnings report and go, oh, this is better than this one, the stock should go up. No, you need to look at past, because you want to know, was the company growing from 2015 to 2016? They were. Okay, then from 2016 to 2017, were they growing? And you go, no, they actually decreased. And then when you come into 2018, you go, was it good or was it bad? Like, no, they actually went up over 2017, but that's still far below their 2016 numbers. So are they really doing much better, or did they just have a slight good month? And you have to figure out what is that reason in this quarter. Okay, they're quarterly reports. So you have to be able, as an investor and trader, analyze the fundamentals of this company and go, this is the reason why I think they're going to perform better this quarter over the last. Last quarter, they were this, and in the earnings report, and then in the call, they said they were going to be doing this, and this is how they were going to help grab more customers or, build a bigger marketplace. And you as an investor have to be able to justify what they're saying, the numbers, and then come up with what you think is going to happen to that stock. Your technical analysis really doesn't mean anything at that point, to a certain extent. For the most part, it's all fundamental, in which you choose to invest in that. So there's a lot of work to earnings reports, okay? But the more you do it, the faster you get at it, and then it'll be like that, right? Like me looking at a stock is like that. Now, when you do the same thing with reading reports, it just becomes very fast eventually. I've seen Works. I'm not crazy about trading Works. Works is just it's a super low float junky. I'm completely fine without trading that. Matthew Ferguson, thank you, brother. Thank you. You want to look at NVLN? I'll take a look. What time is it? 8:57. All right. I know there's a lot of questions today. I can't always get through them all, so I apologize. So I hope that what I have said today was able to touch to every one of you guys that had questions that I wasn't able to get to. Mr. Ferguson, NVLN. So this is a penny stock, shot up this morning into these highs, probably selling off a little bit. What's the news? Got to be news. Therapeutics enters into licensing agreements to receive $25 million up front. Okay, some pretty positive news with NVLN this morning. Now, I don't know much about the company, but I'm going to go with this is, I honestly want to tell you probably not to trade it personally. Couple reasons, and that's because you can see that doesn't give you enough. Let me go to this one. All right, here you go. So you can kind of see top, crash, shot up, most likely going to crash. The only difference between this pop, and this one is this pop we're on right now has more of a curl to it than all the ones before. This one had a pretty good curl, but this was a long developing curl. So this one's arguably a little bit more bullish than the previous ones, but you can see how each one of these pops was respected, right? It shot up and came crashing down. And then also take note on this. Look at the difference in volume. Look at the volume on this push, and this push. Today, this thing has yet to really even get much volume. Now, that's arguable. That's because the market hasn't opened and more volume will come in then, and that's why it looks the way it looks, and that is part of the reason. But you can see there is a drastic increase in volume over here in regards to this move. So there's no way that this will shoot over these highs unless the volume is probably much greater than 20 million traded on the day. And then secondly, I would have to look into the filings of the company, but you know, this thing probably has outstanding warrants and notes, and people will sell this move. So I would probably say it's best to stay away from it. In terms of holding, you might be able to make some money trading, and that would only be if it could hold this support of 150. If it breaks 150, it's most likely going to trail off for the day, Matthew. All right, I'll do one more because you sent through the donation. I gotta do it. I gotta do it for the brother. But Matthew, I would definitely say on NVLN, it's probably safer to stay away from it than anything right now. Just because you can see the resistance it hit here at $1.80, kind of struggled, fell. It is holding this 150 to support, but you can see it's kind of rolling over. LCI, this will be the last one on the day, and then I gotta get rocking and rolling. LCI. Actually, it doesn't look all that bad. So the thing I like about LCI is it's trending up. Okay, so with LCI, you do have a nice trend up on the stock here. Okay, stock is, is trending, it's creating higher lows, so it is trending up. And then if you look back here, it has a big gap in the chart. So arguably, this could be doing a gap fill where you'll see the price shoot up all the way to fill the gap in the chart. So I hope you can see this gap, right? That's what is called a gap fill, where you see this price go all the way up and then it eventually fills that gap. So arguably, that's what it's trying to do. Now, what I'm going to tell you right now is don't think that the price is just going to shoot up and fill this gap. That most likely won't happen. You've seen how long it took for it to go from here to there, so you could expect the time frame it would take for it to go from here all the way to up there. Now, also, you have this 200 moving average. This is the purple line. If you were to put a 200 moving average on your chart with LCI, it will fall right in the same place. This is a big resistance to watch out for. On the daily chart, the 200 moving average is a massive resistance when price action is coming up into that level. So what I would say is, you could just watch it really for right now. Watch and see what happens if it presses up to the 200 moving average, because it will most likely pull back a little bit and then maybe, come back down to support, which would be right around here, this line I just drew. So if it pushes up, I would wait for it to hit the 200 moving average at about 920, see how it reacts, because if it hits it and starts selling off hard, then it might just resume back into the downtrend. But if it can hit it, pull back, push back over, hold over the 200 moving average, then it's a good sign we're going to push higher on LCI. All right. Whoa. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a lot of talk in there this morning. So anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully that helps you guys. With that being said, everybody have a good day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for another watch list and maybe another video today if I got some time. I think I'll have some free time to do some things like that. So anyways, have a good day, stay green, have a good day trading, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning. Alrighty.